Can you guys hear me? Just thumbs up if you can.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Salam to all. My name is Syed Fahad Khalid, and I will moderate the Fireside Chat today. The Fireside Chat today is sponsored by parklaunch.com. Just want to briefly introduce what parklaunch.com is. We might have new members who might not have attended these kind of sessions in the past. Parklaunch.com mission is to connecting Pakistani talent across the globe. Park Launch is a community that brings together professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors to share experiences and create opportunities within the Pakistani diaspora. Today we have with us Rahil Bodla. He will be the guest, and we will be having a lot of questions. We will ask a lot of questions to him, and let's see how he responds to those. I'm very excited to have him here. Rahil Bodla is a business coach based in Silicon Valley. With 20 years of work experience, he coaches and serves business owners, startups, and leaders to maximize their results. Initially, Rahil completed his undergrad in aerospace engineering. Rahil, can you make it a PowerPoint? Yeah, now it's good. Yeah, thank you. So, Rahil is also sharing the slide deck about his journey. I think it's pretty amazing to see the slide deck and see how he have went through from aerospace engineering to become a very well-known success coach. Initially, Rahil completed his undergrad in aerospace engineering and served in Pakistan Air Force as a squadron leader for almost 10 years. And I think this is between 1998 to 2009. Am I right, Rahil?
Absolutely, exactly.
Yep. He completed his master's in business administration from MIT in a program that selects top 40 professionals from all around the world. Rahil, do you know a point which program? I think it was a specialized program, so it will be good to know for the audience that why it was so specialized.
Absolutely. It's called SCM program, which is Supply Chain Management Master's Program at MIT.
Thank you. He have also worked at Tesla Global Supply Chain Manager. He led 250 million Model X assembly line supply chain management and saved 11 million for the company. As a Tesla supplier, he grew sales of a startup 4x from 4 million to 16 million. This was a Tesla, or this was another startup?
This is a startup. Actually, the name of the startup is BART Manufacturing. And so once I was global supply manager, they were my supplier, and they were looking for someone in the leadership position. It was very impressive family-owned business. So I joined with them. And then next 3 years within the Tesla factory, I was doing sales to Tesla. So some of the key suppliers, they are present at the assembly line. And that's how. So for Model X, I had the opportunity to lead the Model X assembly line. But for Model 3, we were a supplier. So I was from BART Manufacturing, but in this Tesla factory, selling to Tesla.
Awesome. Rahil is also one of the co-founders of Nastian Alumni Organization of the US, an executive member of Open SV Organization of Pakistani entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. He loves to connect and help others in their business and personal success. Based on his learning from Harvard, MIT, and world top success coaches, Rahil is passionate and effective in delivering successful results. You can visit him at www.rahilbodla.com. And now we will jump into the questions. And I think, Rahil, I'm going to ask some tough questions.
Absolutely.
You can help us how to become successful.
Wonderful. Would love that, Fahad. That's why we are here. And excellent. I admire your journey as well in terms of all the accomplishments that you have made. Something very impressive that Park Launch as a team is doing. Very outstanding. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Welcome. Absolutely, Fahad, whenever you're ready.
Cool. I see a message from Tam saying, can we have sound check, please? Can everyone hear us or no? Can, other than Rahil, somebody can confirm that? Okay, Ali is saying, so maybe there is something else. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Rahil, the first question is, tell us about yourself. When and how did you decide to become a business coach? What was the motivation? So it's 3-part question. It's
yes.
How you want to answer.
Yes, absolutely. So this is exactly once I was serving in Pakistan Air Force, and I was posted at Chaklala Air Base in Rawalpindi, which is Islamabad. And at Islamabad, I was coaching a lot of industry leaders. I was fortunate to be one of the early PMP, the project management professional back home. For next 5 years, I kept coaching and training people for project management professional trainings. I was interacting very actively with all the top companies in Pakistan at that point of time while I was serving in the Air Force. That was the time I was getting a feedback from others that I was effective and helpful for them. Because what happens in a coaching situation is that the other person that you're coaching and serving, he or she is the hero, and you're the one who's doing all the best so that they do their best. So that was the time in those coaching interactions and trainings, I was getting a lot of feedback that it was effective for people in getting them the results what they wanted, and specifically for me, I've been very passionate. So my 3 whys would be the passion that I had in coaching, in serving others, in helping others. And it was a journey of coaching myself. So last 20 years of work experience, I still have my coaches, and I work very actively with them. Want to make sure that I'm growing and getting to the next level. And that's how it has been a journey of coaching. And this is something that really works. It worked for me from my humble beginnings to get to the dreams that I wanted, whether it was going to a school or whether it was for working in the industry. And that is something that gives me the fulfillment. It makes me really happy once others are doing best in accomplishing their dreams, their goals. And that's how I become an enabler and part of their story. And I can change life for them, and I can change their business, startup, getting to the next level. That is something that makes me happy and fulfilled. So this would be my 3 whys, why I'm doing this, how I could especially get over and leave such a high-paying, amazing job in Tesla and go ahead with my dream of coaching. And it has been almost 2 years now. So very humbled and fulfilled for that. And it's more like a dream come true.
Awesome. My next question, which I think a lot of us are very interested, is what is a business coach? What does it mean actually, and what a business coach can do to anyone?
Absolutely. And that's a very good question. A lot of people, my friends, family, they interact, and I have been specifically working on this area in coaching. But many of the friends who meet with me, they say, this is the first time, Raheel, I'm coming to know about this. Like, what is a coach? I have never had a coach before. How does this work? So very good question. Interesting in that part. So business coach would be very different from a business consultant. So a business consultant is more like, we know consultancies, we know consultants. So a consultant would say, here's the solution, here you go. You can go implement it. You're the one who is doing it, the execution on your part. That's why many of the time the consultancy assignments and projects are temporary. They're like one time, you go do it and that's it. Because consultancy is more based on how to do something, like steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. Coaching goes way ahead of consultancy because it's 80% of mindset and 20% strategies. So back and forth, like the way coaching goes in a game or a sports, that I work with my coach and he shows me, like I have a fitness coach. He shows me exactly what to do. Then I do it. Then we switch places, we do back and forth. And then he helps me. And then I show him my limitations and my blind spots. And I bring my blind spots to him, asking, this is my limit. That's where I'm kind of stuck and I'm trying to go beyond. And that's where he helps me because he is at a higher level. So a business coach, what a business coach does is that it's less of consultancy and it's more of that coaching. So my strengths are coaching and business management. And that's how I work with so I'm in a business of helping other businesses grow by coaching and serving their business leaders feel more passionate about their business, make more money, and deliver results. So it's 80% mindset and 20% strategies. That's how a business coach works with these businesses. And it's an ongoing journey. It's just like a business needs a business tax advisor or an accountant. In the same way, the business or a startup needs a coach, a business coach which can get them to the next level and keep them going.
Great. My next question is, and I think this is the reason why I brought this question, because I think people would love to listen that the next question is actually, how do you define success? And
Yes.
Success is very different for everyone, right? It might be different for you, it might be different for me, it might be different for someone sitting in Pakistan, Balochistan, Sindh, Punjab, right?
Yes.
So given you are a business coach and you see different perspective of different people, diverse personalities, diverse businesses, how do you define success for them?
Exactly. So the best thing is that they define success for them, which makes it very easy. For example, Fahad has such an amazing business. And I came to know about Fahad being a very good friend of mine. I came to know about Fahad's business. And in that case, if I'm serving Fahad, then he defines the success for him. And that's how we come up with the goals, what would be the higher level of the goals to get to the next level. And it becomes very easy in terms of because the bond is it's a very experiential process going through coaching. And we have complete visibility. We are sharing everything, like the businesses that I'm serving, they have their QuickBooks shared with me. Finances, we exactly know so that we can quantify metrics, results. Would they share their CRMs with me, their sales and operation? At least these three visibilities, finance, sales, operations, it's totally visible. And that's how they know and that's how they understand as well that how we are getting that success that they are defining for their business. And primarily we look at that the return on the investment, that they make a personal investment with me in this process, then the return on the investment is far greater than the investment that they're making. That's how that's how they are fulfilled and feel that it's going in the right direction and they're getting the success that they're looking for. Did I answer your question, Fahad? Is Fahad here or? Sorry, Fahad. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, I dropped by mistake.
No problem. So we were saying that in all visibility, their finance, their sales, operations is shared on both sides, is shared with me. And that's how they get those metrics and results, what they're looking for in their business, in their startup. And that's how it makes it very easy for them to quantify the results and see that it's going in the right direction and it's successful. Does that answer your question? Sorry, Fahad, you're muted, I guess.
Yeah. So absolutely, Rahil. Thanks for the response. And I saw a question from Farooq Ijaz on the particular question which I just asked, and I thought maybe we should take it and respond because it's aligned with the question you were responding. And his question is, if a client is setting success criteria, then it's limited by their own thoughts, the client thoughts most likely, right? How can a business coach break that barrier and take them to the next level?
Excellent, excellent. So I deliver to the client what he or she is looking for, and I also watch for them what they need. These two, a combination of both of these things is a very essential for them. Because like the first thing, we have to deliver to the client what he or she is looking for. If they will say A and I say, no, it's not A, it's B, actually that does not make that connection. We provide that A and we also I also watch for them what's the higher level for them. And in our combination, it becomes like a combination on both sides. They understand, I understand them very well. And that's how we take that to the higher level. So we are not blind set by their own limitations. And we see the horizon and get the vision of what's next and getting them beyond their limitations.
Rahil, we're going to take another question from the audience. And this is from Haris Hassan. The question is, are there any specific type of business you coach?
The work that I'm currently doing is industry agnostic. So it's not based on industry. It's a very wide range of industry, high tech and all of the conventional industries as well. Because the other person that I'm coaching and serving, they're already expert of their domain. They are the subject matter expert. My areas are coaching and business management, and that's how we team up together. So the answer would be it's industry agnostic, not specific to one industry.
Great. Moving on to my next question. Given that you have been helping many businesses, right? You have been coaching their founders, co-founders, and helping them to unlock the next level in their business. That's a hard question. And I would love to get a number if you have in mind. How many businesses have you helped create?
Yes, so I'm sharing the screen now. So this gives a glimpse of or an idea of the business leaders I've been working with. And a lot of them are not here on this because so I started full-time this coaching in January of 2019. We went through the growth of the businesses, some of the businesses and the startups going through their formation. And then especially February, March, April timeframe, during that, there were a lot of people who were going through and wanted to take their startups to the next level. They're holding on the startups. Like I'm in touch with VCs, the funds in terms of, so there are people still waiting on that. But this slide gives a glimpse and shows the business leaders I've had the opportunity to coach and serve, and that is in last 2 years. So some of the corporate, the big companies we already know of. There are a lot of small companies here towards the downside. Many of the logos are not here. So I've coached and served hundreds of startups and businesses, especially during these 2 years of full time. Before these 2 years, I was coaching on the side. Like I had a high-paying, amazing job at Tesla. On weekends, I would have multiple meetings with the other people. But rolling something that you are doing part-time for like 5-6 years, getting that into full-time, but you have a strong word of mouth, and that's how people know that, okay, coaching, Raheel is the one. Let's connect with him. So it was very interesting process to go through. And I have hundreds of businesses and startups I have coached and served. And that has been very fulfilling, helping them and in a win-win situation in which I was getting to the next level and they as well.
Thanks, Raheel. The next question is, can you tell me your steps in planning a client's path to success? When you intake a client, how you envision that, how can be this successful? Because that's what the business coach responsibility will be, right?
Absolutely.
The journey or the process in your mind that how you should take the client to that path.
Absolutely. And that's how it is. Like we work specially on this model. And as we were discussing, so it's 80% in the mindset, 20% in the strategies, but we work very actively in these 7 dimensions of business, which is the business map, where the business is today to where we want to take it in terms of innovation, how we are different from the other businesses, and marketing, and sales, and finance, and operations, and customer success. So that's how we work actively with mindset and strategies in these 7 dimensions of business. And in all of these dimensions, we take the business to the higher level, like in terms of how we work on innovation, we work on marketing, what's the baseline, where we are standing today, what are the other things that we can add and improve and get to the next level. That's how we work, and that's how we chalk out a plan together with the business owner, and that's and we put timelines and milestones on those, and we track that this is the plan and this is the actual, and then we track our performance on that with that finance and sales and operations shared, and we can see and they can see as well, and they're very appreciative of that. This is a creative way of helping those businesses. That's the feedback that I get.
Great. Given that you deal with so many diverse clients and diverse businesses, right? We would love to see that how you pick the businesses. how you ensure that this is the right client for you? You take the hardest one or you take the least hardest one, so that you don't need to put a lot of effort. It will be interesting to know, or you take everyone, whoever comes to you.
Excellent, Fahad. In the person, so we have meeting in terms of like to see if there's a fit on both sides. If there's a fit with me, if there's a fit for them as well, and then definitely it makes the needle move, then we go ahead. I look for two things. I look for whether the person has a growth mindset or not. And number two, do they believe in coaching or not? These are the two criteria. Like some of the people, is it possible for somebody to have one and not have the second? Yes, it's possible. Like a lot of my friends, like most of us, we are engineers here. I'm an engineer as well. Like, so my engineering mind gets me into an analysis paralysis loop and a fear of judgment and a fear of failure and a fear of rejection. And I will look at numbers and all those things. But like in deep down analytical or engineering or finance, there is a lot of talent of mind involved, but less of passion of the heart. And literally it unlocks, gets to the next level once we combine the passion of the heart with the talent of the mind. And the way it goes is that could there be a person who has a growth mindset? Yes. But they do not believe in coaching? Yes, it's possible. There are a lot of people who would say, no, I should do everything by myself. I want to do things on my own self. I want to do things exactly according to the way I want it. In that case, they may or may not believe in coaching that somebody else could. Like I had been working very actively with my coaches. I believe in them. And that's why I'm still enrolled in all those things. I'm coaching hundreds of people. I have my coaches to get to the next level. So yes, I'll just look for two things, the growth mindset and whether the person believes in coaching or not. And that's it. And if there's a fit on both sides, excellent. And we start performing together.
Great, Rahil. The next question is, a client is upset about the time it takes to make progress, especially the people who have not been coached previously, right?
Yes.
They might not have the first-hand experience of what coaching is, right? As a few questions before I asked, what is a business coach, right?
Yes.
And especially if you intake a new client with a diverse mindset, they might not have seen this leadership coach, business coach, and success coach experience, and they might react to the progress. How do you react to those kind of situations? How you handle those?
Excellent, Fahad. I would say this is the most important question, or in terms of, this is something, Fahad being a friend of mine and all of the friends who are joining this, if somebody would ask me that, what is your most important learning, Rahil? Then that's something that I would love to share here. Let me share the slide. And that's exactly what goes in the question that you asked, that somebody could think and say, why is it taking more time? Like, how does it go? And then, so this is what is very helpful in growing the business and the startup. And this is something that I learned through that 20 years of work experience, that my mind actually puts me in that analysis paralysis loop. Like I have the belief, or I have the thoughts, I have potential. So potential is in a range from average potential to peak potential. Am I in my peak potential? There are ways to work on that, and with the physiology, with the mind-body connection, with focus, with language of mindset. But it turns to whether I want to take action or not, or whether I have taken enough action or not. So in this situation, that business owner or startup founder, it gets to, if things are sitting in the potential part and it is not translating into action, then definitely there would be a lot of frustration. And it happens. It's very natural. I could be in that situation too, because we all here, we are overachievers. We want to achieve a lot. And in that case, being overachiever, some of the time we could beat ourselves up because we challenge ourselves too much, but it has to go through a right combination of challenge and support. And this is where my role comes in. challenge and support, challenge and support. Like what happens is if the business owner or the startup founder is challenging himself or herself too much, and because in that case, and if the support is not there, what they would do, they would give up. Like I would give up. Anyone would give up because there's a lot of challenge. There's an overachiever mentality and there's less support. So we put the right combination of challenge and support so that we are just stepping up. It may be few millimeters every time. It may be small little thing, but we are making sure. It's just like a process of going to the gym. We do not want to give up. All we want is to step up. And that's how, so we work together in connecting that potential and translating that into action. And if I did one tiny action, it will give me that one incremental result, and it will increase my belief that yes, this is working. And I will further increase my potential, getting that from average potential to peak potential. So this would be the strongest learning that I have had from my coaches in these 20 years of journey. And this is something is very essential. And we could apply this to a business, to a startup, or to our personal life as well, so that we are translating that potential into action every time. And that will get the result. Because, for example, if I made a plan, if I'm a business owner or a startup founder, I made a plan 3 months back, but then I'm not doing the plan. I'm getting late. There are so many other things going, wife, kids, life in terms of job. And I have a job as well. And I'm planning a startup on the side. All I need to do is support myself and challenge myself and do that action. That will get me the result. That will make the belief, will further increase the potential. And step by step, that's how we step up. We do not give up. So does that clarify, especially that scenario, Fahad, that you were talking about?
Absolutely. I think, thanks for the response. Before I go into my question list, audience pretty excited, and it seems like we have few more questions, which I would like to actually give the opportunity to the audience. And Absolutely. We will go with the first one. And that one was, what has been your most outstanding achievement working as a business coach, and why?
Thank you. So some of the achievements have been, we started a brand new business. Within 3 months, we recorded $100,000 in sales. So that was one. Despite this COVID struggling times, few businesses that I'm coaching and serving, we have crossed the $1 million line already. And we are headed towards a $2 million goal for 2020. A business executive that I've been coaching and serving, he is signing for CEO of a $10 million business. And the potential is to grow that into unicorn, to get to $1 billion. So these are some of the, so in order to understand a population, what we do is pick up sample. So these are some of the samples that I shared. It's very rewarding in terms of and fulfilling to help them and see them grow and be successful. And definitely, I'm part of their journey as well. And it's a win-win situation that lasts in a long-term strategic relationship.
Thanks, Raheel. A question from Ali Paracha. Did you leave your job at Tesla before you started making strides towards your business? If not, how did you manage or find time to work at Tesla and also get a coaching business going on the side?
Yes, very interesting question. So for 6 years, I was doing coaching on the side on weekends, especially on weekends. I would have a lot of meetings before I could leave my Tesla job, before I could leave it full time and do full time for my business. I had coached hundreds of leaders by that time already. So, and that is something that I would suggest to a person as well who would like to go on a similar journey, that do something again, like repetition is the mother of all skills. If any area of passion that you have, that you want to pick and you want to perfect it before you make the call when to jump the ship, please do it so many times, do it hundreds of times so that you have that perfection and the conviction and the confidence to roll it full time, and then definitely leave your job and do it full time. So to answer the question would be, I'd been coaching a lot of leaders on the side and finding time for that before alongside my Tesla job. That was very hectic, but my passion, my emotions were in coaching. And that's how it made the decision easy to leave that and do my coaching business full time.
Great, Raheel. Another question from Ali Paracha. How do you charge your clients and negotiate the cost of services you provide? Have you ever had an unhappy client, and what did you learn from them?
Very good question. So we made it very standard, easy. So for quite some time, I kept observing other business coaches. What do they work? What do they do? So we placed our services in a very sweet spot and at an excellent position that helped us to get clients from US, Canada, Dubai, Saudi, Pakistan, China, Singapore, different time zones I'm coaching and serving. We placed our services as monthly subscription model, made it easy for everyone to sign up and get started, because a lot of other coaches, they were doing like long term. They were doing like, I'm not going to work with this business or startup until we sign up for 6 months or 9 months or 12 months. So it was very helpful. Other business coaches, they were charging tens of thousands of dollars. We placed our services at $800 a month. Like putting a standard mark and making it easy as a monthly subscription. It made easy for people all around the world to sign up, because like they would say, okay, just no problem. Let's work for the first month. And once we work together in that 1 month, we have those 5 Zoom meetings, 1 hour every week. They started getting the result right away. And we do a lot of that action and emotions right there and put all our passion in the first month and step by step so that it keeps going. And that's why it's like on both sides. It's an accountability on both sides that they are getting the return on the investment more than the personal investment that they're making. And that's why I've had clients with them. They're going on with me since last 2 years. And they say, right, we are working together for the lifetime. I mean, all the businesses or the different lines of businesses that we have, we are together because we know that you're going to get very busy. And it has been very rewarding in that regard.
Next question, I think you have answered, but still I get this opportunity. Like Khurram Nadeem, who asked the question, what's the average length of your engagement with your clients? How long before they begin to see the results?
Yes. So we start getting the results right away. To best answer your question would be, in universe operates in 90 days cycles. Seasons are 90 days. Even financial quarters of companies are 90 days. Crops are 90 days. I mean, if I start doing something today, the results will in a strong manifestation, the results, I will start reaping the results in 90 days from now, which is 3 months. But there could be a client who would say, first month, I want to see, and then that's how. So we work on all those, like I do an audit of their business in terms of like, what are the low-hanging fruits in which we could put those emotions, we could get that benefit right away so that the other person understands and appreciates it. And then they have the growth mindset and they believe in coaching. And for them, if it's a healthy business, if it's a strong business, or it's a startup which has that strong bandwidth that they have planned, they would say, this is just no problem, and we will keep going. So the answer would be average length of months. I have had these businesses who have been working with me. Startups, I would say some of the startups, they work for 1 month. Like it all depends. Startup is, it depends on funding. I've coached startups who will say, Raheel, we are working together for 1 month. And in this 1 month, we chalk out our plan and strategy. We straighten out all those kinks. Then I have a full-time job already. Let Raheel, let me work on that plan of the startup, and we connect again later. And that has happened. And then we did connect again later. Like we worked for 1 month, and then they worked 6 months, and then we reconnected with them because the value was established on both sides. So that is like few startups they work in that area. Some of the startups will say, let's work 3 months and then we are working on our MVP, and then we could connect again. Because the monthly recurring revenue, when and how the monthly recurring revenue is going above the burn rate that they have. So that's how it goes. In the businesses that I've been coaching and serving, I have not let down a single one. Like literally, we are going on in terms of, because there is a monthly recurring revenue, and that is so justified with the services that we are providing. I'm not here for the long haul. I'm not here for the short haul. I'm here for the long haul, a long-term strategic relationship. Like I get that feedback that, Raheel, this could be a little bit on the lower side of what the other people are doing, and that's no problem. We are here to add more value and do our best, and that's how has been positioned in the industry.
Thanks, Raheel. I think one part of the question which we asked you earlier, and you might have missed, and Alit Raja reiterated that he want to, and I also want to hear that actually. So
yes, sure.
Have you ever had an unhappy client, and
yes.
what did you learn from that experience?
What I learned from that experience was that in terms of having an unhappy client, for me, the most important is that person. Who is the business owner and who's that startup founder? For me to understand them really well with their personality, with their profile, what their emotions are. Like what a one-liner that I would summarize for everything, that emotions are the medium for success. Emotions are the medium for success. For me, everything else would be put aside. And if I have all my emotions and passion into coaching, I will leave a full-time job and start doing coaching full-time. So for us, most important is to understand where are emotions of Fahad. And that's the best way I would be able to coach and serve Fahad. So unhappy client, yes, we worked out, and I said, for me to understand their profile, their personality, for something that they were unhappy of, I said, I'm not a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. I'm not leaving right here. Let us work on this opportunity. The more explicit you are with your expectation, that's how the best we form in this team together. So that's how I could work on that and get that straightened out. The best for me is to understand, get feedback from them all the time. That's what I learned. That get feedback so much, because it helps me grow my services that I'm providing to them. It helps them grow. So expectation, getting that feedback, and that's how I could turn that happy client into a client for getting and seeing that monetary benefit in their business. Did I answer the question, Tom?
No, thank you. Yeah, I think you clearly answered that. There is a quick one. I think you can, from Haris Hassan. He's saying, is it a one-on-one coaching or it's a group coaching?
Right now, it's a one-on-one coaching that I'm having with the businesses and the startups. Currently, I'm working on how do I roll out this one-on-one coaching into a group coaching. So the plan for scaling is to use technology, team as well. So right now, a lot of those efforts are going on. Currently, it's a one-to-one coaching.
Thank you. Another question from Ms. Nakvi. Have you coached or coaching any fund managers? How is that different from coaching startup founders or corporate leaders?
I have not coached any fund managers, but there are a lot of fund managers that I have been in touch with, especially in terms of, I would say towards the end of 2019 and towards the start of 2020, there are multiple funds because the space is the same. Because a fund provides funding to a lot of startup founders, and startup founders is their target and ideal clients. And those are the ideal clients for me as well. So we operate in the same space. I have not coached a fund manager, but I am in touch with a lot of fund managers, and we were planning to roll out all those coaching for their startups. And in the middle of that, it was COVID. But definitely, we diverged out, and it has been going really well. Hopefully, things will pick up soon.
Cool. Another question. Seems like you have some fans Umair Noor, have you even thought of coaching students in the school where you graduated from, which is Cadet College Hassan Abdal? I think you did not mention that in your slide.
Umair Noor is a friend of mine, and I think, thank you, Umair, and I think we are connecting now via this webinar after 23 years. So thank you for joining. Absolutely appreciate that. So before joining the NUST College of Aeronautical Engineering, I went to Hassan Abdal Cadet College from 8th to FSC. That was the 5 years I spent there. Yes, absolutely. So my strength is coaching and business management. And in terms of like all the things that I've mentioned, I've coached people to get into MIT, to Chicago Booth, to Purdue, to Stanford, to Waterloo, to McGill. So all the things, if the strength in my personality is coaching, then all the things that I've done in my life in terms of academia and industry, it sets me in the right context to coach and serve them. And yes, if anyone would be in that area, I would be able to coach them as well.
Awesome. Raheel, the next question, this is from the fireside chat question. In your experience, which motivation strategy works the best?
Yes. So as we were just discussing that, a one-liner, that emotions are the medium for success. Out of all the emotions, passion is highest on the list. So any emotion could work for us to make us successful, to make this business leader successful or this startup founder successful, for us to understand where their emotions are. It could be anger, it could be pain, it could be pleasure, it could be fear, it could be anything. Like somebody challenges me, like Fahad, a friend of mine, challenges me, says, Raheel, you cannot do it. So it instills some anger inside me, and I would say, no, I can prove it. I can take the challenge. I can get the work done. And I put that emotion back into the work by accepting the challenge and getting the needle moved. Then yes, that emotion is the best thing to have. Any emotion is good if it is put to the right cause. The best emotion is passion, because passion is highest on the list. What it means is that there is no push strategy. Nobody has to push me. I'm so much pulled into this that I will do everything possible and make it work and get that to the next level. So that's why working on passion is always the most sustainable and the best strategy.
Actually, funny that the next question is very well aligned with what you just said. And the question is, can you tell me about a time when you pushed a client out of their comfort zone? And let me chalk out this question and ask you, there are people in the world who, I should not say, but they don't have any passion.
Yes.
So let's suppose they come to you for coaching. What you will do in those scenarios?
Then I would understand the two requirements or the two conditions that I have in mind in terms of having the fit. Do they have the growth mindset? Do they believe in coaching? Then if a person doesn't have the passion, doesn't want to get to the next level, probably the person doesn't have a growth mindset. Or if it does, in that case, what we do is that align them and instigate and understand them really well, where their emotions are, what they are passionate about. And some of the time it happens, like an executive that I coached and served. And he mentioned, and that aligns with the question that you asked, that the person said that I did grow my business a few years back. So this is an executive that I'm talking of who is almost 20 years senior to me in age as well as experience. So I'm very respectful of those conversations in terms of like, and they're very, very happy. I think like as a personality, I make friends very quick, connect with them, being very respectful and appreciative to them. And that's how it bonds us very well in a strong team. So he mentioned that I did grow my business a few years back, and that growth was very uncomfortable for me. And I believe that growing the business is being uncomfortable, and there's a lot of pain in there. So can you help me in that regard? This came up in our conversation. He did not approach with that this is the first problem or first issue or something. We worked on that with the language of the mindset, and we transitioned that into, he could transition it into that growth is fun and easy. So every time then he was saying growth is fun and easy, and he made it fun and being it very easy, and the business has been growing, and he had been growing personally as well. So those are the introspection and the deep connection, the deep why. It's not about how, it's about why I want to do something. Like we start with why, where the mindset goes. Strategies come after. So the story that I believe in, the state of the mindset I have in, those are the most important things. And those are the things that we work on to go through the, as you asked, some uncomfortable situations and grow out of the comfort zones and get that to the next level.
Thanks, Rahil. We're going to take one question from the audience. Khurram Nadeem, if a client is invested in the relationship and coaching, with your help, results would naturally come out good. How do you deal with clients who may be somewhat transactional?
Yes. So with people who are transactional, no problem. I mean, I'm here for the long haul. And with a lot of work that I do with them, we do an outstanding work. We understand, and if their transaction would be still, if the smallest transaction somebody could do would be 1 month, and that's okay. So in that case, it would be like 5 meetings. In those 5 meetings as well, the other person would understand that it's not transactional, it's long-term in terms of all the effort that Rahil is doing here. But still, it's worth it. I mean, so I can, if what we can do is we cannot control the other people. All we can do is influence them. And we influence them. They get that influence through those interactions, through working through together during that 1 month. And if they choose to be transactional, maybe there could be something in their life or in their business or the way they are, no problem. But still they would understand, still there would be a value on both sides.
Thanks, Rahil. Moving on to another question from the audience. Umar Naeem asked, you were extraordinarily organized in your academic life and otherwise. You were always ahead of others in planning and executing. And because you were always prepared and more disciplined than all of your classmates, you never had to face any adverse surprises. So do you think those qualities have helped you in attaining success? And do you think these may be a few of the most important personality traits that founders need to improve the chance of making a successful startup?
So let me say, Umar Naeem, thank you very much for this question. So Umar Naeem is based in Lahore. He's a classmate of mine from the aeronautical engineering that we did together. So absolutely. And he was very impressive. So in aeronautical engineering, we have 2 disciplines, aerospace engineering. I was in the aerospace, and he was in avionics engineering. And he's been very successful in everything that he's doing, and currently in academia. So Umar, so in this case, absolutely, it really helps the foundations that we build up on, anything that we had been doing earlier in life that helps us to take those foundations to get that to a professional level. I think some of the transformations I had was like every time, once I was in prayer, like I was reading namaz, and I used to think that all we do every time is say, oh God, please take me to the path of the people you made, help them to be successful. So for me, the introspection is to understand what is really success. And I started following other global success coaches. Like for me, being disciplined or something, I would say that was at a very humbling stage. But for me, it was a lot to look out and to reflect and learn from others. And that's how those traits definitely help. Like a friend of mine, he was commenting, he said, Rahil, for example, being a squadron leader, 10 years into the Air Force, leaving that job and landing into Montreal with 4 feet of snow, with wife and 2 kids, and in such a hardship and situations. If you had not done that, then probably you would not also have left this high-paying, amazing job at Tesla and start with your full-time of coaching. I said, maybe, because like whatever we do in life that helps us to get, like all these people, what do is that they do one success in a business or startup. It helps them prepare them for the next one. So definitely it helps.
Another question from the audience. Market trends plays a major role in business success. How do you keep yourself up to date with the trend of diversified businesses?
Yes, awesome. So in that case, the diversified businesses, the strength we form that by teaming up with that business owner. In high-tech business as well, the high-tech startup founder or the business owner, they are already the expert of their subject matter. They have that domain already. My areas are business management coaching. I understand technology. Like if I went to this school to go through what I learned from MIT and Harvard, it gets me to a level that technology is or a tool, maybe a smaller thing. If I understand strategy, tool is just a tool. And I'm a lifelong learner, and it helps me to go through those humbling experiences and say that this is something that I do not understand. I want to learn this. And that helps me, that sets me up very well to go through new technologies, new skills, team up with these high-tech startups, with these high-tech businesses very well and perform in those situations.
Raheel, a question for me. What do you hate the most about your job?
I do not hate anything, Fahad. Some of the time, literally, and that is something that once we say living a dream, once we are living that dream, it gets us to that level that some of the time the dinner that I was planning to have like 7:30, and I could have that at 1 a.m. But like because of some meetings or something which was going on, I couldn't do it. But no problem. The fuel, the emotions that we have in something, they set us up for success. Emotions are the medium for success. And that is something we have so much. I have so much of them in coaching area that it really, I do not hate anything about what I'm doing. I love this. I love those interactions. I love those meetings, love the clients because I love them. It has to get to the talent of the mind, the passion of the heart with discipline of body, with conscience of spirit. Conscience of spirit means that I'm standing before God and I'm able to substantiate and corroborate and validate that everything that I did was in the right direction. Absolutely. Then we get that such a strong fuel to pursue something that we love everything and we don't hate anything.
Another question for me. What are the emerging trends in your industry, right? In a success coach, business coach?
Yes.
I mean, we have talked about how you have been doing, how you help others, but you are also facing maybe a challenge from there.
Absolutely.
How competitive this industry looks like. So it will be good to get a quick, not very long, because we are almost towards the end of the session. So we'll get 1 or 2 minutes response on that.
Absolutely. Would like to be very consolidated on that. Fahad, what I learned in last 20 years of journey of coaching experience, I learned that only 3% coaches make it. 97% cannot make it because there's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of like a fear of rejection and failure and judgment goes all the time. I would say my coach is number 1 coach in the world, and he's Tony Robbins. I love him. I've been following him since last 20 years. Every quarter, I spend 3 to 4 weeks in Tony Robbins events with going through my learnings. And that's how it has been. I would say, yes, there are a lot of technological changes and everything that, and if my coach is the best one, so I'm very happy that, yes, I'm getting there and growing and getting to the next level.
Given that we have 4 minutes left, Raheel, we want to conclude this fire chat. Do you have some closing comments for the audience, how they can make use of effective coaching or something else? If someone really would like to become a success coach, what will be your closing thoughts for the audience?
My closing thoughts to the audience would be something that helped me to roll this into a full-time profession. And this applies to everyone in any type of startup or a business that they are thinking about starting. Work on your passion. My message would be, please work on your passion to a level that you from your body, mind, heart, and spirit, you understand that this is one thing I'm passionate about. Number two, take that passion to the level of effectiveness. Do it so many times. Do it hundreds of times. Master that skill. Master your craft. Do it again and again. First, you have to do it with people and nobody is paying you, because like all you are doing is going to your friends and family and then they get to know you. But work it so many times that it becomes and reaches a level of effectiveness that other people say that what you are doing, Fahad, this is excellent and this, I really love this and this is giving me the result. Not what that I say this is amazing. Other people should say that it is very impressive. So passion, the second is effectiveness, and the third one is sustainability. And once we keep doing that effective work that we're doing and the other people are saying it's very impressive, then that effectiveness had to pass through that barrier of sustainability. Then the other people should pay you for doing something that you're passionate about and effective at doing. And that's how you can make your passion into a profession. That's how you can form a startup. That's how you can form a business. And that's how, and in that case, you're living the dream because you're doing something that you're really passionate about and you're really effective at doing because it gets those results to the other people and it's sustainable for you. You're not doing it on the side. That's what you're living and doing full time, and what else you could ask for? It's a great blessing once we have our life and family and business, everything going in the right direction or the direction that you want, that you're passionate about. That would be excellent.
Last one, Raheel, how people can contact you, like how they can reach out to you for the help?
Absolutely, and this is. As my name goes, raheelbodla.com. That's my website. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So all those, in terms of, I'm sharing the slide here. So the text, that's my cell phone number. That's a WhatsApp. So whichever way you would like to contact, we have all the different ways and means of contacting. LinkedIn is like my favorite because I've been doing LinkedIn since 2009. We had a seminar that I attended at Harvard that said the power of LinkedIn, and it really, really helped. Since that time, it really helped.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Raheel, for your time. It was nice talking to you, and I'm pretty much, I gained a lot of information, new stuff about how the business coach can help someone, right, reaching the next level or unlocking the next level. Thanks for the audience, a great audience, and see you guys next week with some other topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fahad. Thank you. Thanks, Spark Launch, doing such an impressive work. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining.